Scripture readings this morning are the 23rd Psalm and 1 John chapter 3, 16 to 24. Our first reading this morning is the 23rd Psalm, probably the best known of all the Psalms. And we often choose the 23rd Psalm to read at funerals, not because of the meaning of the words, so much as the fact that they are very familiar and bring us comfort and ground us. But there are lessons to be learned in these familiar words. The psalm says the shepherd gets to know his sheep and anticipates their needs before they are aware of them. What a comfort we would be, individually as a friend or corporately as a community, if we were aware enough to be present to each other when we were needed. Perhaps that is really why we recite these words in times of grief or turmoil, as a reminder that when we are present for each other, we need not be afraid. Let's hear the words of the Shepherd's Psalm, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And now, 1 John chapter 3, 16 to 24. For our second reading this morning, we turn to the first letter of John, and we read in the 3rd chapter, verses 16 through 24. Let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action. Another exhortation to love one another. How often do we hear that in the Bible, and yet we seem to need to hear it incessantly, or else we forget the lesson. That's because to say that we love is easy enough. But to do the deeds of love is really difficult work. And so here it comes at us again. And the expectation is that we will find the ways to live out that exhortation to love in ways that makes it a real, down-to-earth commandment. Here it is. We know love by this, that he laid down his life for us. And we ought to lay down our lives for one another. How does God's love abide in anyone who has the world's goods and sees a brother or sister in need and yet refuses help? Little children, let us love, not in word or speech, but in truth and action. And by this, we will know that we are from the truth, and will reassure our hearts before him whenever our hearts condemn us. For God is greater than our hearts, and he knows everything. Beloved, if our hearts do not condemn us, we have boldness before God, and we receive from him whatever we ask, because we obey his commandments and do what pleases him. And this is his commandment, that we should believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another, just as he has commanded us. All who obey his commandments abide in him, and he abides in them. And by this we know that he abides in us, by the Spirit that he has given us. May these words open to the Spirit's presence.
And may wisdom come to us this day.